20 fights that were over in 20 seconds. In the world of combat sports, fights can be unpredictable with outcomes that are sometimes difficult to predict. In today's video, we will be taking a look at 20 fights that were over in seconds, leaving both the competitors and the audience stunned. Whether it's a perfectly timed knockout punch, a devastating submission hold, or an unexpected turn of events, these fights showcase the sheer power and speed of the human body in combat. Ronda Rousey versus Beth Correia. We kick things off with a historic fight from the world of mixed martial arts. Ronda Rousey, one of the most dominant fighters in UFC history, took on Beth Correia in 2015, and it didn't take long for Rousey to assert her dominance. Just 34 seconds into the first round, Rousey landed a brutal left hook that sent Correia crashing to the mat. It was a devastating knockout that cemented Rousey's legacy as one of the greatest fighters of all time. Rousey deserved the win as she wasted no time in attacking Correia. From the first few punches alone, you can already tell how it's going to be. Mike Tyson versus Marvis Frazier. Next up, we have a classic fight from the boxing world. Mike Tyson, known for his explosive power and devastating knockouts, took on Marvis Frazier in 1986, and it was over almost as soon as it began. Tyson landed a vicious uppercut just 30 seconds into the first round that sent Frazier stumbling backward into the corner of the ring. A few more punches later and Frazier was on the canvas. It was a brutal knockout that showcased Tyson's raw power, easily becoming one of the fastest fights ever. Gerald McClellan versus Jay Bell. Let me tell you about the time when Gerald McClellan, the knockout king, was on a rampage in 1993. He had already knocked out Julian Jackson, the reigning champ, in just 5 rounds, and his next opponent was Jay Bell. Now, Bell was no slouch, but let's face it, McClellan was in a league of his own. The two stepped into the ring in August, and it didn't take long for McClellan to make his mark. In just 20 seconds, he delivered a body shot to Bell's solar plexus that sent him to the mat, writhing in pain. With that knockout, McClellan laid claim to the fastest knockout in middleweight world championship history. And let me tell you, it was a thing of beauty. It's been almost 30 years, but that 20-second masterpiece still stands as a testament to McClellan's greatness. Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren. At UFC 239, Masvidal took on Ben Askren, who was undefeated at the time, but that all changed just 5 seconds into the fight when Masvidal landed a flying knee that sent Askren crashing to the mat. It was a stunning knockout that made headlines around the world, being the fastest KO in UFC history. Masvidal later shared that as he was making the jump, he was so confident that it would work and secure him the win, and boy was he right. Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale. Moving back to the world of boxing, we have a fight that saw Deontay Wilder, one of the hardest-hitting heavyweights of all time, take on Dominic Breazeale in 2019. It took Wilder just 2 minutes and 17 seconds to end the fight, landing a crushing right hand that sent Breazeale to the ground. The man tried to stand up, but when he did, he just couldn't stand any longer. It was a knockout that sent shockwaves through the boxing world and cemented Wilder's reputation as a true knockout artist. Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. Next up, we have one of the most anticipated fights in UFC history. Conor McGregor, the charismatic Irishman known for his devastating striking, took on Jose Aldo in 2015, and it didn't take long for McGregor to make his mark. Just 13 seconds into the first round, McGregor landed a left hook that sent Aldo down instantly. Looking at McGregor's face of determination at the start of the fight, Aldo stood no chance. It was a stunning finish and a reminder of just how dangerous McGregor can be. Harold Guerre versus Daniel Jimenez. The next one is a knockout tale that'll leave you reeling. It was the battle of the century, with undefeated Austrian fighter Harold Guerre taking on Daniel Jimenez for the WBO Super Bantamweight title. Guerre had a home advantage and an unblemished record, but Jimenez wasn't about to let him keep his zero for long. In the blink of an eye, Jimenez knocked Guerre out cold in just 17 seconds flat. It's known to be the quickest snatch of a fighter's zero in the history of any major world championship fight. Guerre's home advantage didn't stand a chance against the lightning-fast fists of Jimenez. Prince Nassim Hamed versus Said Lawal. Prince Naseem Hamed was the man of the hour back in the 90s, and when he set his sights on the featherweight division, everyone knew he meant business. In 1995, Naseem proved he was a force to be reckoned with by snagging his very first world championship title. But he didn't stop there. The following year, he took on Said Lawal and utterly dominated the poor guy with 2 swift knockouts in just 35 seconds. After that second brutal knockdown, the ref had no choice but to wave it off and let Lawal lay on the ring in defeat. Chan Sung Jung versus Mark Hominick. Our next fight comes from the UFC, where Chan Sung Jung took on Mark Hominick in 2011. Just 7 seconds into the first round, Jung landed a devastating right hand that sent Hominick crashing to the mat. Chan Sung Jung followed this up with a few more quick punches, and just like that, the referee knew it was time to stop the fight. It's no wonder that UFC fans call him the Korean Zombie. The KO was a stunning finish, and a reminder of just how dangerous Jung could be inside the octagon. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. For the next one, we have another fight from the world of boxing. It all went down on February 22nd, 2020, when Tyson Fury stepped into the ring with reigning WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder. Their first fight was a battle for the ages, but this time around the tables were turned in a big way. Fury was determined to win this one, throwing non-stop punches to his opponent. In the second round, Fury landed a crushing right hand that sent Wilder to the mat. Wilder simply couldn't keep up with the bigger, heavier Fury, and it wasn't long before he hit the canvas not once, but twice. To his credit, Wilder refused to go down without a fight, even with a busted eardrum that left him visibly off balance. But Fury was too much for him to handle, and in the 7th round, it was all done for Wilder. Phil Williams versus Brandon Burke. The next fight in today's video was that of Phil Williams and Brandon Burke. It all went down in 2007 when Williams, only 4 fights into his pro career, faced off against Burke in a match that would go down in the record books. In a jaw-dropping turn of events, Williams let out a powerful right hand only 10 seconds into the fight, sending him crashing to the canvas. This insane record by William will forever be remembered in boxing history. Chris Eubanks versus Reginaldo dos Santos. Up next is a fight back into the boxing world between Chris Eubanks and Reginaldo dos Santos. In 1990, Eubanks, the undefeated WBC International Middleweight Champion, stepped into the ring with dos Santos. With lightning-fast punches and impressive footwork, Eubanks managed to knock out dos Santos just 20 seconds into the first round. It was a jaw-dropping victory that left the crowd on the edge of their seats. Bernard Hopkins versus Steve Frank. Bernard Hopkins, a former boxing champ, was famous for his legendary defense moves that could put anyone to sleep. Literally, some fans snoozed during his matches. But hold on tight, folks, because this wasn't always the case. In his early days, he was a knockout king, and Steve Frank learned that lesson the hard way when Frank took on Hopkins for the IBF middleweight title. Before Frank could do anything, it was all done, as Hopkins delivered a powerful combo that sent Frank crashing to the mat in just 24 seconds. Hopkins then defended his IBF belt 19 times and snatched WBC WBO James Irvin versus Houston Alexander. Here we have one of the most electrifying moments in UFC history. On April 2nd, 2008, James Irvin sent shockwaves through the light heavyweight division in Colorado. Facing off against Houston Alexander, who was hungry for a win, Irvin kicked off the fight with a jaw-dropping move. Irvin quickly unleashed a powerful punch that landed squarely on Alexander's chin, sending him crashing to the floor. To add insult to injury, Irvin followed up with 2 more deadly shots that put Alexander into a deep sleep, all within 8 seconds. So that's all for today's episode. Folks, if you enjoyed watching, leave a like and share it with your friends. You can also comment and let us know what you'd like channel if you haven't already. You'll want to check out our other videos. Stay tuned for more awesomeness. Thanks for watching.